The sky was dark and heavy with thick clouds, hanging low over the rocky surface of the distant planet. Jagged mountains cut sharp lines across the horizon, and a cold wind swept through the valleys like a whisper from a forgotten world. In this hostile place, a battle was unfolding. A fight that would change how many species across the galaxy viewed humans forever. From the bridge of their sleek command ship, the alien fleet watched the scene below. The commanders stood in rigid silence, their eyes fixed on the battlefield displayed in glowing holograms. Their confidence was clear. They had faced many enemies before, and none had caused trouble like this. The humans were meant to be weak, simple creatures, unprepared for true war. The aliens saw humans as slow, clumsy, and disorganized, easy targets for their superior weapons and strategy. One alien leader, tall with shimmering scales and sharp eyes, spoke with quiet disdain. These humans lack the discipline and tactics necessary for war. Their equipment is outdated, their movements erratic. Victory is assured. His officers nodded, sharing smug smiles. This battle was expected to be quick and decisive. The humans had landed with little fanfare, their small armies scattered across the harsh landscape. The aliens planned to crush them before they could cause any real trouble. But as the fight began, something unexpected happened. The humans, though outmatched, fought with a desperation that surprised the watchers. They moved quickly, dodging blasts and using the rocky terrain to hide. Their weapons fired wildly at first, but then became more precise. Soldiers yelled commands that were harsh but clear, pushing their comrades to hold the line. Despite the aliens' advanced armor and deadly lasers, the humans kept pushing forward. In one valley, a group of soldiers held a narrow pass against a much larger force. Their shields cracked, and their numbers dwindled, but they refused to fall back. The alien commanders watched in disbelief as humans sacrificed everything to buy time for reinforcements. A wave of panic rippled through the alien ranks when their communications suddenly cut out. The humans had found a way to interfere with the alien signals. Confusion spread, and some of the ships fired on each other by mistake. The battle that was supposed to be easy was turning messy and uncertain. The alien leaders exchanged worried looks. "How can such weak beings cause such chaos?" one hissed. "Their weapons are inferior, their tactics flawed." But no one had answers. The humans were unpredictable, moving in ways the aliens had not planned for. Small squads disappeared into caves and reappeared behind enemy lines. They set traps and used homemade explosives, devices crafted from scraps and raw materials. The aliens had never seen anything like it. On the ground, a human commander named Jackson watched his soldiers with tired eyes. Sweat and dirt covered his face, but his voice was steady. "Hold your ground. Don't let them break through. We may be outgunned, but we will not be outmatched." His words inspired the weary troops. They fought harder, refusing to surrender. Each loss was met with determination to win the next fight. The alien weapons were powerful, but they could not crush the human will. Meanwhile, back on the alien bridge, a younger officer voiced a growing fear. "Commander, their resilience is beyond expectation. They keep adapting, learning from each strike." The tall leader frowned. "We underestimated them. They are not the simple fools we believed." Suddenly the holograms showed an explosion near the aliens' supply lines. Human forces had launched a bold attack, hitting the aliens where they thought themselves safe. The commanders' faces twisted in shock and anger. One alien snapped orders to mobilize defense, but it was too late. The humans had taken the initiative. They moved swiftly, breaking through barricades and cutting off retreat paths. The tide of battle was shifting. Jackson's voice rang clear again. "This is our moment. Push forward. Show them what it means to fight for survival." The aliens struggled to respond. Their finely tuned machines and strategies were failing against what they called weak humans. The more the aliens fought, the more they realized their error in judgment. Far from the battlefield, in quiet rooms of their ships, many aliens whispered about the humans' strange strength. "What makes them so stubborn?" one asked. Another replied, "It is not just strength. It is spirit, a force beyond technology and weapons." The commanders faced a grim truth. They had misread the humans completely. Their supposed weakness in battle was not a flaw. It was a hidden power. As the first part of the battle ended, The alien fleet retreated to regroup, nursing wounds that were far worse than expected. The humans held their ground, exhausted but victorious in this phase. The sky above was still, heavy with clouds, but beneath them, something new had begun. A story that would echo across the stars. Jackson looked up at the dark sky. His voice was quiet but firm. They don't know what they're up against. We aren't just survivors. We are fighters, and this is only the beginning. Back on the alien command ship, the tall leader stared at the battlefield hologram and muttered, "We have underestimated humanity. That was our greatest mistake." The winds howled across the rocky plains, carrying with them the whispers of a war that had only just begun. The humans, battered but unbroken, prepared for whatever challenges awaited. The galaxy had changed, and so had the story of humanity's place within it. Long before the fierce battles on that harsh planet, the aliens had first met humanity in the cold expanse of space. Their first meetings were far from friendly. Across the starry void, the aliens watched the humans closely, trying to understand their strange behavior. What they saw puzzled them deeply. Humans moved awkwardly, with little grace or precision. Their machines seemed slow, and their soldiers often looked tired and disorganized. The aliens noticed that human tactics were not as polished or efficient as those used by other species. Battles fought by humans appeared chaotic, with no clear pattern or careful planning. It was as if they lacked the skill required for real warfare. During initial clashes, human forces made many mistakes. They lost ground quickly and suffered heavy losses. The aliens were quick to mock these failings. "Such weak fighters," they said among themselves. How could they ever hope to survive in the galaxy's ruthless wars? Alien leaders confidently labeled humanity as a minor threat. Their reports described humans as slow learners, unable to adapt quickly or work as a united force. To them, human victories were rare and usually due to luck rather than skill. It seemed obvious that humans lacked the qualities needed to win battles or control territories. Despite these harsh judgments, the aliens continued to observe humans. They recorded every failure and weakness, reinforcing their belief that humans would never rise to real power. But hidden beneath the surface of these failures was something the aliens could not see. A spark of potential that refused to die. Humans did not give up, no matter how many times they were defeated. Instead, they watched and learned. Every loss became a lesson, every defeat a chance to grow stronger. They studied the enemy's moves, tactics, and technology with careful attention. Slowly, humans began to change their ways. Where aliens saw only weakness, humans saw opportunity. They knew their early failures were not the end, but the start of something greater. Quietly, far from alien eyes, humans worked to improve their weapons and strategies. They trained harder, thought deeper, and planned better. In training camps, hidden under the soil of distant worlds, soldiers learned to move as one. They practiced coordination, timing, and discipline. These camps became places of hope and determination. Human commanders pushed their troops to think creatively, to expect the unexpected, and to never lose heart. One such commander, named Lila, often reminded her soldiers, "We are not just fighting for survival. We are fighting for the future of humanity. Every step we take is one closer to victory." The aliens still believed that technology and strength would win wars. They failed to realize that humans had another weapon, a willpower that burned brighter than any laser or missile. This spirit allowed humans to endure harsh conditions and remain hopeful in times of despair. Meanwhile, humans experimented with tactics that aliens never imagined. They learned to fight not just with weapons, but with minds. They used surprise and trickery, setting traps and feints that confused their opponents. The galaxy had seen many great armies, but none like the humans who adapted quickly and fought unpredictably. In one early battle, a small human squad faced a much larger alien force. The aliens expected an easy victory, but the humans disappeared into a dense forest. For days, the squad avoided direct fights, instead cutting off supplies and striking. Suddenly from the shadows, the aliens grew frustrated and weary, losing their strength little by little. When the humans finally attacked, the aliens were unprepared and forced to retreat. Stories like this spread among alien circles. Whispers of human cunning began to reach even the highest councils. Some aliens laughed it off, calling these tales exaggerations. Others started to worry. What if the humans were not as weak as they seemed? Among the humans, news of these small victories fueled a growing confidence. They knew that their past failures were only part of the journey. The key to success lay in never accepting defeat as final. With each battle, humans sharpened their skills and strengthened their resolve. The alien forces, however, remained stubborn. Many refused to change their views. They continued to underestimate humans, relying on their superior technology and numbers. This arrogance blinded them to the real threat growing before their eyes. In secret meetings, human leaders planned their next moves carefully. They combined old wisdom with new ideas, creating strategies that could surprise even the most powerful alien fleets. They built alliances with other species who admired their spirit and determination. One human diplomat named Arjun spoke to alien representatives with calm but firm words. "You judge us by our past mistakes, but we have learned. We have changed. Underestimate humanity no longer." The alien diplomats listened, some with respect, others with doubt. They knew the humans had endured many hardships and still stood tall. The galaxy was watching, and the future was uncertain. Back on the battlefields, human soldiers trained to face the harshest conditions. They adapted to deserts, frozen tundras, and toxic wastelands with ease. Their bodies grew stronger, and their minds sharper. They became masters of survival, able to fight anywhere, anytime. This adaptability puzzled many alien scientists. They could not explain how humans survived where others failed. The answer was simple but powerful. Humans refused to quit. Their determination was their greatest strength, something no machine could replicate. As the war with the aliens intensified, the truth became clear. Human weakness was not a lack of skill or power. It was a mask, hiding something much more dangerous, an unyielding spirit that grew stronger with every challenge. The aliens who once laughed at humanity now faced a new reality. Their old beliefs were crumbling. They began to fear the very species they had dismissed as easy prey. One alien commander said quietly, "We thought humans were weak, but now they are the ones we must fear." The galaxy was changing, and humanity was at the heart of that change. The future belonged to those who could adapt, learn, and never give up. Qualities humans had in abundance. The human's ability to adapt was not just a rumor or a simple fact whispered among alien ranks. It was a powerful reality that unfolded every day on the battlefield scattered across the galaxy. The species once thought weak revealed a remarkable skill, learning and changing faster than their enemies expected. In a small desert world, where the sun burned fiercely and water was scarce, human soldiers faced impossible odds. The alien invaders arrived with their heavy armor and advanced weapons, confident their technology would easily crush the human defenders. But the humans did not rely on technology alone. They used their environment to their advantage, digging trenches and building hidden tunnels beneath the scorching sand. These tunnels allowed humans to move unseen, launching surprise attacks that left alien soldiers confused and vulnerable. The humans studied the alien patrol routes, noting their timing and habits. They patiently waited for the right moments to strike, then disappeared back into the safety of the tunnels before the enemy could react. This form of guerrilla warfare was unlike anything the aliens had faced before. They had prepared for open battles and direct assaults, not this kind of cunning and patience. Slowly, the alien forces grew frustrated and weary, unable to pin down the elusive humans. Their advanced technology meant little against the clever, tactics born from human adaptability. Far away, on a cold, icy planet, humans adapted in a different way. Their bulky armor was modified to keep them warm, and they learned to move carefully over slippery ice to avoid falls. Despite harsh conditions, human soldiers pushed forward, using the freezing winds and low visibility to hide their movements. They communicated through silent signals, avoiding loud noises that could give away their positions. Their enemies, accustomed to warmer worlds and clear battles, found themselves at a loss. They struggled to keep up with the humans, who seemed to blend into the cold environment as if it was a part of them. Each small victory on this frozen world became a story told back to human command centers, proof that adaptation was a powerful tool in survival. Human commanders understood that their greatest weapon was not just strength or numbers, it was their mind and spirit. Soldiers trained to think quickly, to solve problems on the spot, and to support one another through any hardship. Where machines failed or weapons broke, human courage and creativity filled the gap. One soldier, named Maya, became a symbol of this spirit. During a surprise alien raid, her squad found themselves surrounded. Outnumbered and outgunned, Maya stayed calm. She led her team through an abandoned factory, using shadows and narrow hallways to hide from the enemy. When they reached a control room, Maya hacked the alien systems, turning security cameras and alarms against their attackers. Her quick thinking saved many lives that day. Stories of her bravery spread quickly, inspiring other soldiers to find new ways to fight and survive. Maya's actions showed that technology was not always the answer. Sometimes the human mind was the strongest weapon on the battlefield. In the deep forests of a distant world, humans faced another challenge. The dense trees blocked their scanners and slowed their vehicles. Rather than struggling against nature, human forces learned to work with it. They trained to move silently, to hide in shadows, and to use the forest's natural sounds to confuse their enemies. This environment gave humans an unexpected advantage. Alien soldiers, unused to the quiet dangers of the forest, were caught, off guard by human ambushes and traps. The forest became a partner in the fight, helping humans defend their ground with unseen strength. Meanwhile, human engineers and scientists worked tirelessly to improve their equipment. While their technology was not as advanced as the aliens, it was reliable and easy to fix in the field. Soldiers carried simple but effective tools that allowed them to repair weapons and machines quickly, even under fire. This practical approach to technology made human forces resilient. When their machines failed, they did not stop fighting. Instead, they adapted their tactics, turning weaknesses into opportunities. Their enemies began to see humans not as clumsy and weak, but as flexible and resourceful. Alien leaders watched these changes with growing concern. Their reports, once filled with arrogance and dismissive words, now showed signs of fear and respect. The unpredictable nature of human tactics forced them to rethink their strategies. They could no longer rely on brute force or advanced weapons alone. The aliens realized that humans were unpredictable, not just because of their physical actions, but because of their mental strength. Humans could think on their feet, solve problems quickly, and work together with a unity that many alien species lacked. This mental toughness allowed them to survive situations that should have been impossible. In one secret meeting, an alien strategist said, "Humans are not just fighters, they are thinkers. Their ability to adapt confuses us. We prepare for one battle and face another." Despite these warnings, many alien commanders clung to old beliefs. They thought that sheer power would still win wars, but the battlefield told a different story. Time and again, humans used clever tactics and mental strength to overcome obstacles. Back. On the human side, leaders emphasized the importance of adaptability. Training programs focused on teaching soldiers to observe, learn, and adjust quickly. Every mission was a chance to improve, every failure a lesson to remember. This mindset spread beyond the military. Civilians on human worlds shared ideas and inventions that helped soldiers survive. The whole species worked together, united by a shared will to endure and thrive. Even in moments of defeat, humans never lost hope. Their resilience was a force that grew stronger with every challenge. This spirit made them unpredictable and dangerous opponents, capable of turning the tide of battle even when odds seemed impossible. As the war raged on, aliens slowly came to a difficult truth. The human weakness was not a flaw, but a hidden strength. Their failures were steps on a path to becoming one of the most formidable forces in the galaxy. The species that once seemed clumsy and slow had become masters of survival and strategy. Their adaptability and mental toughness made them a new kind of enemy, one that could not be ignored or easily defeated. The galaxy was beginning to see that underestimating humans was a mistake that could cost many worlds dearly. The humans had long been seen as weak, scattered and easy to defeat by the vast alien empires that ruled many worlds. But now, the tides of war were turning in unexpected ways. A small but fierce group of human fighters had prepared a plan so bold and clever it shook the confidence of their enemies. It was a surprise attack that no alien commander could ignore. The place was a wide, dry canyon on a distant planet, its rocky walls rising like giant walls. The aliens believed this narrow pass was a perfect trap for the humans. They had set their forces to block any movement, confident they could crush anyone who tried to pass through. The alien leaders saw this as a chance to deliver a final blow, and end the human resistance once and for all. But the humans had other ideas. They spent weeks studying the aliens' patrol patterns, learning every detail. Instead of attacking head-on, they prepared secret tunnels beneath the canyon. These tunnels were narrow and rough, dug by human hands with grit and determination. They would allow a small group to sneak behind enemy lines without being detected. On the day of the attack, a hush fell over the human camp. Soldiers checked their gear and whispered last words of encouragement. The commander, a woman named Jada, gave the final orders with calm confidence. Her eyes burned with a fierce fire that inspired everyone around her. As the alien patrols marched along the canyon floor, the humans moved quietly through their hidden tunnels. Their steps were light, their breathing steady. Emerging behind the enemy lines, the humans launched a sudden attack. Confused and caught off guard, the aliens stumbled. Their formation broke apart as humans struck with quick, precise blows. 1. Canyon echoed with the sounds of battle, shouts, clashes of metal, and the roar of energy weapons. Despite being outnumbered, the humans fought with skill and determination. They used every bit of cover the rocky canyon offered, moving like shadows in the sunlit dust. The aliens quickly tried to regroup. Their commanders shouted orders, but confusion had set in. Friendly fire broke out as some units mistook their own for enemies in the chaos. The humans' unexpected attack had shaken their confidence. While the battle raged below, human forces on the surrounding hills launched another surprise. Using long-range weapons and clever signals, they cut off alien communications. The alien soldiers found themselves isolated, unable to call for reinforcements or coordinate their defense. Jada's voice rose above the noise, rallying her troops. "Hold your ground! Push forward! This is our chance!" Her leadership was steady, and the soldiers followed without hesitation. Each movement was part of a larger plan, a dance of strategy and courage. The alien commanders, once confident of victory, now faced a grim reality. The humans were not just fighting with weapons, they were fighting with their minds. The surprise attacks, the disruption of communications, and the relentless pressure created chaos among the alien ranks. Reports reached the alien high command. Their leaders, gathered in cold chambers aboard a massive warship, frowned deeply. "The humans are unpredictable," one said, his voice heavy with concern. "Their tactics grow more dangerous by the day. We must rethink our approach." But the aliens had underestimated the humans' true strength. Beyond strategy and firepower, humans possessed something the aliens could not easily understand: an unbreakable spirit that refused to yield. Even when wounded and outnumbered, humans fought on with fierce determination. Back in the canyon, a young human soldier named Kai faced an alien soldier in close combat. Despite being smaller and less armored, Kai moved quickly, using his enemy's weight against him. With a swift maneuver, he disarmed the alien and forced a retreat. Kai's courage was a small part of the larger human effort, but it reflected the unyielding will that drove them all. As the sun began to set behind the rocky cliffs, the battle shifted. The aliens, disorganized and battered, began to withdraw. Their forces scattered, leaving the humans in control of the canyon floor. The victory was not complete, but it was a turning point. Human leaders knew this success would inspire more fights and more hope. It proved that careful planning, adaptability, and courage could overcome great odds. They understood that war was not just about weapons, but about heart and mind. The alien commanders, however, felt the sting of defeat. Their pride was wounded, and their faith in their superiority shaken. Some admitted that the humans were no longer the simple enemies they once believed. Others refused to change, blaming luck or temporary mistakes. In the shadows of their warship, one alien officer spoke quietly to his peers. "We have faced many foes, but none with such spirit. We must learn from this, or we will lose more than battles." Human diplomats, hearing news of the victory, pressed their case for peace talks. They argued that humans were not just fighters, but potential allies. Some aliens agreed, seeing value in cooperation rather than endless war. Yet others prepared for the next conflict, knowing that the fight was far from over. The humans had shown their strength, but the galaxy was full of dangers still waiting. Jada gathered her commanders under the stars. Her voice was firm, but hopeful. "This is only the beginning. We have shown what humans can do when we fight together. The road ahead is long, but we will walk it with courage." The humans' victory in the canyon became a legend. Stories spread of their surprise attacks and brave hearts. Across planets and stars, many began to see humanity not as weak, but as a force to be reckoned with. The battle taught all who watched a lesson. Underestimating humans was a fatal mistake. Their ability to surprise, adapt, and unite made them formidable opponents. The canyon's quiet rocks bore witness to a change. A new chapter in the war had opened, one where humans would no longer be victims, but warriors shaping the galaxy's future. As night deepened, the stars shone down on the warriors below. Their fight was far from over, but their hope burned brighter than ever. The humans had turned the tide, and the aliens knew the war had entered a new, uncertain phase. The galaxy held its breath, waiting to see what would come next. The final battle was unlike any other the galaxy had seen. It stretched across a vast space station that orbited a dying star, a place heavy with memories of past wars and ancient failures. The aliens had fortified their position here, believing it to be impenetrable. They felt sure this would be the place to end the conflict and crush humanity once and for all. Yet, humans saw the station not just as a battlefield, but as an opportunity. The war had taught them to think beyond raw power and numbers. They understood that victory often came from strategy, patience, and unity. Their leaders prepared carefully, knowing this fight would decide more than just territory. It would decide their place in the galaxy. The humans launched their attack with quiet precision. Small squads slipped past the station's outer defenses, using stealth ships that avoided radar detection. These teams were experts in sabotage, moving silently to disable communication hubs and power generators. Each strike was calculated to weaken the enemy without exposing the larger forces too early. Inside the station, alien soldiers were caught off guard. They relied on technology and brute strength, confident their numbers would overwhelm the humans. But the invaders faced confusion as lights flickered and alarms sounded without clear cause. Human hackers had taken control of key systems, turning the station's defenses against its owners. Human fighters moved through narrow corridors, using the maze-like structure to their advantage. They avoided large battles and struck quickly, disabling weapons and cutting off escape routes. Their teamwork was flawless, each soldier knowing their role and trusting others to do the same. One commander, named Elias, led a squad deep into the heart of the station. His voice was calm but firm as he guided his team through the dim halls. "Stay alert. We only get one chance at this." As they advanced, the aliens tried to regroup and fight back, but human soldiers used their environment cleverly. They set traps and choke points and used sound to confuse the enemy. Each victory was small, but it wore down the alien forces steadily. Meanwhile, on the station's control deck, the alien leaders realized their situation was desperate. Their once clear plans were unraveling, and their soldiers were tired and demoralized. One officer slammed a fist on the table, shouting orders to hold the line. But it was clear the battle was slipping away. Human engineers worked alongside fighters, repairing broken systems and adapting technology. Though their gear was often less advanced, they made it work through clever fixes and modifications. This practical approach kept them moving forward, even when the odds seemed against them. The aliens had underestimated the humans' ability to cooperate and improvise. Where they saw chaos, humans saw opportunity. Their unity made them a force that no single technology could break. In the midst of battle, Elias's squad reached the central command chamber. The room was guarded heavily, but the humans had planned for this. Using a coordinated assault, they overwhelmed the defenders and secured the control systems. With control of the station's core, humans reversed the flow of power. Alien weapons became useless, and doors locked against their own troops. Panic spread quickly among the aliens. Their advantage turned into a trap. On the station's bridge, the alien high command faced a grim choice: retreat and risk total destruction, or surrender and face uncertain futures. Some argued for fighting to the end, while others begged for peace. The war that once seemed so certain to end in their favor now teetered on collapse. Back on the battlefield, Elias sent a message to the human fleet. "We hold the station. The enemy's control is broken. Prepare for final phase." The humans cheered quietly, knowing this moment was hard won but not the end. They had proven that strength alone did not win wars. Mind, heart, and teamwork mattered most. As the aliens retreated, their soldiers showed signs of doubt and fear. Many had never seen humans fight like this. Not just with weapons, but with strategy and hope. It was a lesson they would never forget. Far from the station, human leaders gathered to plan the future. The victory was a turning point, but it brought new challenges. The galaxy had changed, and humanity had grown into a force that could no longer be ignored. Commander Jada spoke at the meeting, her voice steady and full of resolve. "We have shown what humans can do. Now, we must build a future worthy of this victory. One where we are not just survivors, but leaders." Across alien worlds, reports of the battle spread. Some species feared humanity's rising power. Others admired their courage and spirit. Alliances shifted, and new possibilities emerged. The final battle on the station became a symbol, proof that humans were not weak or broken. They were fighters who adapted, learned, and united to face impossible odds. The galaxy watched as humanity stepped into a new era, ready to face whatever challenges came next. The war had tested them, but it had also made them stronger. In quiet, moments after the fighting ceased, soldiers remembered those lost and those who fought bravely. They honored their sacrifices with promises to keep fighting for peace and freedom. The stars above shone brighter, as if recognizing the courage and change that had taken place. Humanity's place in the galaxy was no longer in question. The war was not over, but the humans had won a victory that would echo for generations. They had proven that unity, courage, and smart choices were the greatest weapons of all. And so, the story of humanity's strength in battle continued, a tale of hope, resilience, and a spirit that would never be broken. The defeat on the station weighed heavily on the alien leaders. Their once mighty empire now faced a reality it had not anticipated. Across their vast command halls, discussions echoed with tension and doubt. The war against humans had revealed unexpected truths that forced a reconsideration of everything they thought they knew. In a high council chamber, the tallest of the alien commanders stood before his peers, his voice low but firm. "We believed humanity to be weak and primitive, their technology inferior, their tactics chaotic. But we were wrong. We faced a force greater than simple arms, one born of will, adaptability, and spirit." Some council members shook their heads, unwilling to accept this shift. They clung to old ideas, confident that superior numbers and firepower would still win wars. Others, however, admitted the truth with reluctant nods. The humans had something no machine could replicate: resilience and an unbreakable mind. To better understand this enemy, the aliens began studying captured humans and their behavior. Observers noted how humans recovered quickly from losses and found new ways to fight. Even when wounded or cornered, they remained calm and focused, searching for solutions where others saw only defeat. A young alien scientist, fascinated by these traits, remarked, "Their minds are not bound by fear or strict protocol. They improvise, they learn. This is a power we must respect." Meanwhile, on human worlds, survivors and leaders alike celebrated their victories but remained humble. They knew their journey was far from over. Many had lost friends and family in battles, and the scars ran deep. But the lessons learned fueled a determination to prepare for future challenges. One veteran, named Sarah, looked toward the stars and said quietly, "We have shown the galaxy our strength, but we must continue to grow. to build a future where peace is possible. Across the stars, alien diplomats approached human representatives with new respect. Some sought alliances, hoping to learn from humanity's unexpected rise. Others remained, wary, preparing for conflict, but unwilling to ignore the power humans now displayed. In secret meetings, human diplomats offered peace talks and shared knowledge, extending a hand to former enemies. The gesture was met with mixed reactions, hope from some, suspicion from others. The war had changed many minds, but old fears lingered. Back in the alien command centers, debates raged. Some leaders pushed for cooperation, believing humanity could become a valuable partner. Others warned against trusting a species that had defied all odds and challenged centuries of alien dominance. Among these debates, a new understanding emerged. The galaxy was entering an era of change. Humans had rewritten the rules of engagement, proving that strength was more than weapons and numbers. It was also in creativity, courage, and unity. Human scientists continued to innovate, blending technology with experience. Their weapons grew smarter, their ships faster and more adaptable, but they never lost sight of the lessons that true power came from their people's spirit. Soldiers trained harder, not just in combat, but in teamwork and problem-solving. Their leaders taught the importance of listening, learning, and adapting. Every mission was a chance to improve and prepare for whatever might come next. Alien leaders watched these changes closely, realizing that underestimating humans had been their gravest error. The species once dismissed as weak had become a symbol of hope and strength for many others across the galaxy. In quiet moments, some aliens even wondered if humans were more than just warriors. They were survivors, thinkers, and builders, qualities that could shape the future of many worlds. The war had tested humanity in ways no one could have imagined. It had forced them to confront fear, loss, and uncertainty. Yet, through every trial, they had grown stronger and more united. As the galaxy adjusted to this new balance of power, humans looked ahead with steady eyes. They knew challenges remained, but they also knew their greatest weapon was their will to endure and thrive. The stars above seemed to shine a little brighter, as if acknowledging the courage that had brought humanity to this moment. The story of the weak becoming strong, of the underestimated rising to greatness, was no longer a secret. It was a beacon for all who dreamed of a future where hope could survive even the darkest wars. The final chapter of this long struggle was not marked by the thunder of weapons or the roar of ships in battle. Instead, it began in quiet halls and peaceful talks, where old enemies met to discuss a future neither had dared to imagine before. The galaxy, once a place of endless war and fear, was slowly changing. And humanity stood at the center of that change. After countless battles, losses, and hard lessons, humans and aliens faced one another not as foes, but as potential partners. The human leaders spoke openly about their desire for peace. They understood the cost of war and hoped to build a future where cooperation could replace conflict. Their voices were steady, filled with the hope that had carried them through so many dark days. Alien representatives, some still wary, listened closely. They remembered the strength and spirit of the humans, the way they adapted and fought with courage. Many had been surprised, even humbled, by the resilience shown in battle. For some, this was a chance to set aside old grudges and look towards something new. In a grand council hall floating above a neutral planet, delegates gathered. The air buzzed with tension and hope. Here, a treaty was drafted. Not just words on paper, but a promise to end the cycle of violence that had scarred countless worlds. The talks were not easy. Differences in culture, language, and history created barriers. Past wounds ran deep, and trust had to be earned slowly. But humans showed patience, listening carefully and offering respect. Their leaders spoke of lessons learned, of the value in unity and understanding. One human diplomat named Elena stood before the council and said, "We fought hard to survive. Now, we fight for peace. Let our past battles be lessons, not reasons for hate." Across the room, an alien elder nodded solemnly. "Your spirit is strong, and your words carry truth. Let us walk together into this new era." As agreements were signed, celebrations erupted on many planets. Humans and aliens alike saw the promise of a galaxy united by respect and shared goals. The stories of war became stories of hope, tales told around fires and in quiet homes, reminding all that even the darkest times could lead to light. Human settlements grew stronger. They built schools where children of many species learned side by side. Scientists and engineers shared knowledge openly, developing new technologies that improved life for everyone. This cooperation sparked innovations no one could have achieved alone. Soldiers who once faced each other in deadly combat now worked together in peacekeeping missions, protecting fragile worlds from new dangers. The bond forged in war had changed into a commitment to protect and nurture. Still, the memory of the struggle remained alive in the hearts of many. Veterans shared their stories, not to boast, but to teach. They spoke of courage, sacrifice, and the power of unity. Their voices were reminders of what had been lost and what could be gained. Jada, the commander who had led daring attacks years before, now visited young recruits. She told them, "Our greatest victory was not just winning battles, it was proving that humans could rise above hatred, that we could choose peace over war." The galaxy, vast and full of mysteries, held many challenges yet, but with humans and aliens united, there was hope that these trials could be faced together. Differences that once divided had become strengths, woven into a rich tapestry of life and cooperation. In distant star systems, people looked up at the same sky, dreaming of futures filled with discovery and friendship. The war that had once threatened to destroy humanity now stood as a turning point, a reminder that strength was not just in weapons or numbers, but in spirit and choice. The stars watched silently as a new chapter began, a chapter where humans were no longer just survivors or fighters, but builders of peace and explorers of possibilities. Their journey had been long and hard, but it had led them to something greater than any victory in battle. Sarah, the veteran who had once gazed at the stars in hope, now smiled quietly. "We are more than what we were told. We are more than our struggles. We are a light in the galaxy." And so, the story of humanity's rise concluded not with an end, but with a beginning. A promise that no matter the darkness faced, the will to adapt, unite, and hope would guide the way. In the endless night of space, that light shone bright, a beacon for all who dared to dream of peace.